session, Stepping into the World. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's training session, Stepping into the World of LinkedIn. And we really have a fabulous and inspirational speaker whom Angelo is going to introduce in a moment. And I also just want to thank Mr. Colon in advance because this is his second time this year visiting with our St. Peter students and sharing his knowledge and expertise on networking and professional development. So excited to have you back again. And I just want to commend Angelo Madrigal for coming to me with the idea for today's event, and he organized every aspect of this event, setting up the flyer, inviting everyone, and coordinating everything. So I encourage our students to share your ideas. If you think there are sessions that can benefit you, please come and tell us, ask, and we will help you to set it up. So Angelo, great job leading this, and I'm gonna kick it over to you.
Hey everyone, so yeah, my name's Angelo Madrigal. I'll give a brief explanation of like who I am.
Both ways, just for the recording.
Absolutely. A brief explanation of who I am and why I created this event. So I'm a sophomore here, majoring in finance and artificial intelligence and machine learning. And one thing I saw was just that we needed more of developmental programs or events for us, especially business students or even students in general that really want to hit the professional world and create a career. So I feel like LinkedIn is the best stepping stone that we can possibly create. And from there, a few months ago, I used to be the secretary, of faculty relations person for Delta Sigma Pi. And I created an event with Dr. Marcillo. And this is when I actually met Mr. Rod Colon. And from there, Ms. Rod Colon is a worldwide speaker talking about career strategies, professional development, and he has his own radio talk show. And so, Mr. Rod Colon.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you're clapping afterwards. Just spend some time with you. You know, I have to give Angelo just a lot of credit. So here it is after our session with Dr. Marcillo a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. And Angelo comes up to me and says, Mr. Colon, I'd like to stay in touch with you. And I said, no problem, happy, here's my card, no issue. And sure enough, he followed up on LinkedIn and sent me a message. I'm like, whoa, he has separated himself from 90% of the pack because very few individuals ever follow up on a business card. And hey, love to hear it.
You're here from 12 to 1.
So one of the things that, so I said to Angelo, and what we'll do is, and just to help me out, I'm just going to mute the lines there just so that helps me out. So I said, Angelo, why don't you do this stuff? Because we went over LinkedIn. And he's like, man, this is really good. This is so cool. And I said, we can make it cooler. Why don't you do something? I'll be happy to do it with the program, with the group in person or online, and rock and roll, great project management on your part. And you get notice and notoriety, and you can add it to your resume. And if anything, you're part of my team and my network, and we can help some others. And so I really congratulate Angelo for really being, and I always talk about being unique, being different, setting yourself apart from others. And really what Angelo has been able to do, and I'm sure there are things that in this whole process of getting me here, with staff and faculty wasn't easy. Matter of fact, maybe awkward, a little uncomfortable. And so many times in our careers, we're going to have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And so I congratulate Angelo for that. And he's got a coach he's part of my family. And I welcome all of you who are here today to part of my family. And I'll cover that and what does that really mean in LinkedIn. So just a little bit about me. Born and raised in New York, grew up in the Bronx. Parents are from Puerto Rico. I am bilingual, but I kind of tend to speak very well in English, but I defend myself in Spanish. And my mom always says, she's always correcting me. God bless her. She's 91. She's still with me, and I care for her. I have went to Georgian Court University, small school down in Central Jersey. Some of you may have heard of it. And I have my undergrad degree in business administration and my master's in theology. Different areas. I worked at JP Morgan for 17 years in human resources. I was the individual that if you were a technologist or anything to do with IT, you'd be across the table from me and say, hi, how are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. So as I see Anna there and Lilette, and I say, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. There's like, for many, it's like, oh, I don't know what to say. What do you mean? So that was me. That was my role for 17 years and loved it. And one of the things now is that left in 1997 to start my own career. I'm sure some of you weren't even born in 97, right before that. So anyway, in 97, left to start my own practice. I've been on my own now for 20 plus years. I love what I do. As an executive search, career coach, recruiter, motivational speaker, have a podcast radio show live Monday nights where Dr. Maciu was a wonderful guest of mine a few weeks back. So that's been my thing. Married 37 years, 3 kids, 4 grandbabies, 1 on the way. This whole title of granddad, oh, I am just loving it. Just loving it. So here I am in St. Peter's, right? So it's like, wait a second. I know St. Peter's. I went to a graduation there once for my godson. And he graduated 90, I think 07, 06, Anthony Quinones. And he always spoke about St. Peter's. And I said, and I was going there for this panel, I sent him a picture. Guess where I'm at? He says, I think that's St. Peter's, but that cafeteria looks a little different. And so there was a lot of new things that, I shared with him, and he loves it. And he's looking forward to, I'm looking forward to kind of bringing him back and on campuses to see how things have changed over the years. He is doing really, really well at an investment, a hedge fund in HR. So his name is Anthony Quinones. He's on LinkedIn. And if you want an introduction to him, he's doing really, really well. And I've kind of guided him from St. Peter's to a temp position, to HR, to various things. And he no one in my own person, like inner family, listens to Dad. It's like, no, we'll do it our own way. But my godson, he listened, and boy, is he doing really well. And just a credit to St. Peter's, from that standpoint. So over the last 10 years, I spent a lot of time with an organization called HISPA, which is Hispanics Inspiring Students' Performance and Achievement. It is a nonprofit organization where we find and identify Latino and allies of the Hispanic community to share their stories. So college students and professionals sharing their stories with our inner city kids. And we're in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, South Florida, and in San Antonio. So with that, and part of that, we have many organizations, corporations that fund and support us, that want, within their business resource group, and that share, have their employees share their stories with our students, which is fantastic. So that's one of the things that I do in my role as the volunteer management director, is to work with all the role models and making sure that their stories, what they're sharing with the kids, is inspirational and powerful, and the good, the bad, or the ugly. We want a true, authentic story of what they've gone through. So we've been doing that for now over 13 years. I also spend quite a bit of time with diversity, equity, and inclusion, belonging, justice throughout the country as an executive coach with various assessments. I love the topic, and as a coach, I've always felt, over the last 10 plus years, that you really need to own this whole aspect of diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of your core competency, as a value that you bring to your company, to your community, to your family. Critical. And I love spending time with her, and it's very seamless into what I do there. For the last, 8 years, and prior to that, at Rider University, I had a Sunday morning show called Your Career is Calling. Sunday mornings, 8 o'clock, the campus was just empty, nobody there, but we had time on the radio show, and it was really great. And I did that for 2 years, but then I left to do my own programming, and for 8 years and over, I think last Mondays, every Monday night at 9 p.m., we did our 278th show. And in that hour plus program, we have 4 segments: one, a guest speaker, on a topic of managing one's career in some way. Then we have a topic on what I call Career Corner, where I have a good friend co-host who's a scientist at Regeneron. She's my co-host and she shares an aspect about the career. I'll bring in a topic on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then we'll wrap it up with a therapist, a mental wealth therapist on mental wellness and mental health. So that's our program in our show, and it started out with just 1 hour of me sharing career tips and techniques. And it's call-in, so people can actually call in with questions, and I'm happy to help. We have a producer who's one of our students from the CHPRD, the Center for Hispanic Policy Research and Development that I've coached. So I just love what I do, and I am blessed. And as I help individuals in managing their career, they become part of my network. And as a nice Latino, if you're in my network, what does that mean? You're part of my family. And I will do whatever I can to help and support you. I'm not going to work harder than you for your success, but I'll be with you step by step. And for many who do not have a coach or even the thought of a coach or what to do, it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Just like Angelo took advantage, and here we are today. And because of his action, we're now impacting many others. And through this recording as well, many others can go there as well. So that's really, from my standpoint. So the first thing I encourage all of you to do is please look for me on LinkedIn, find me. And I'll put it in the chat room as how you will find me, because I was at NJIT yesterday, and they were like saying, but we can't find you. And it's under Rodrigo Colon. And I kind of have I have this in the middle. So if you see there in the chat room, just find me there. There's another Rod Colon in Florida who's doing some water treatment, really. And I actually sent them a note to say, hey, we got the same name. I'd love to get to know you. He's not responded yet. And then there's another really good looking kid. That's my son who works at JP Morgan. He's an executive director there. So if any of you are interested in working at JP Morgan, I guess of all my kids, he's probably the one who's really tapped to his dad's, thought of managing one's career. So if any of you are interested in working at JP Morgan, please let me know. I worked there for many years, and now he's there, and I basically can carry his bags and be security guard because he's doing really, really well, and I could retire, but I wouldn't retire from what I love. So let me spend some time. So please send me there. You can always reach out to me. I know this is like, what is he saying? What's the fee here? What's the charge? How much is this going to cost me? And I'm like, just believe me, if you reach out, I'm going to reach back to you. There's no cost here because it's about building a powerful network. The beauty of the network is that there are going to be times in our lives that we're going to need individuals in the network to help and step up for us as we're going to step up for you. So about 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, my daughter has a beautiful daughter, but she has Turner syndrome. And if you don't have Turner syndrome, you're missing a chromosome. So there are many different things in her body that are just unique. And as she was born, and she was only given a 1% chance to survive to birth, well, she was at 1%. So the hospital, thinking in upstate New York that they would be able to help and facilitate some surgery, her heart was deformed and various things, they said, there's really not much we can do. We could just maintain her and we'll see where it goes. And it was like, well, what do you mean? You've been telling us all along that everything would be fine. So we were then back to square one as to what are we going to do? So sure enough, through our network, through my son's network, he reached out. And for those who may have known me back about 2 years ago, a little less than 2 years ago, there was a note that I sent out to my network to say, we need your help. This is a situation. And sure enough, my son knows the president of Elizabethtown University, who knows the CEO of the DuPont Nemours Hospital, Children's Hospital in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, who reaches out immediately to his chief surgeon for pediatrics and heart. And they looked at her background and all the information, and they flew her down from Rochester to Delaware in 48 hours, and she had surgery, and She's now a blessing and a miracle child. And if it wasn't for networking, so networking is not just about a job or business intelligence. It really is about looking out for each other. And so my mission, and this really has been a mission, is to teach, train, help, support individuals in really what is a network, right? And I use LinkedIn as my tool, right? And this tool can help me to do various things. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go into LinkedIn, and there's a lot to LinkedIn that there's no way I can cover in 40 minutes. But you will always have the opportunity to reach out to me and ask any questions that you like, be it on a Monday night show, a text message, an email, a LinkedIn, whatever, right? So here are a couple of basics and fundamentals, right? One is your profile. In your profile, you can select your banner. You could use a standard banner. What I selected to do was, as I have a theme and my focus is always, we're managing a great enterprise. And that is Angelo Madrigal Inc. Enterprises, Sandra Horvat Inc. Enterprises, Lilette Magori Inc. Enterprises. You have a great enterprise. That's you. What are the values? What do you bring? What are your service lines? And why do I say that? Because when you're thinking that way, it's less about emotions and much more about what do I need to accomplish? What do I need to do? What are my business operations? What are my goals? What is my mission? How do I move forward? It's just a different philosophy, a different way of thinking. And that's the reason why many of us will say, okay, Rod from the Bronx wouldn't do that, but Rod, the CEO of Rod Cologne Inc., having a beautiful family that he works for, he's willing to do that. So we're going to do things that are, sometimes a bit uncomfortable, not unethical, just uncomfortable. We weren't raised or taught or, coached in a certain way. But now what I do is I coach great business owners of their career. So these dots here, circles that are a little, very small C, are all the different business lines that I'm in. You select a banner that's appropriate for you. So if you're in business or art or finance or human resources or entertainment, select something that's appropriate, because LinkedIn becomes your website. LinkedIn becomes where people get to see the business side of you. And for me, the best business side of you is you're running a great enterprise. Me Inc., Me Incorporated. So when you look at the profile, well, what are things that come up? Well, the first thing people say is, what's this he, him, his stuff? So those who are not familiar, right, with DEI and the various pronouns and all of that, they now know that I'm attuned to that. So these are just little cues that you can give to the audience who's looking at your background, okay? Then we want to take a look at, well, who's looked at my profile and what have I posted? Those types of things. Well, if I'm in business, if I'm in accounting, if I'm in healthcare, if I'm in nursing, in LinkedIn, I want to keep my messaging on target with where I'm going. So if I'm in healthcare, I want to post about things related to healthcare. If I'm in diversity, equity, and inclusion, I want to write things about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or share. This is not about Rod on the weekends in Spring Lake on the shore. This is about the business side of Rod. I can do Twitter and TikTok and all these other things about the personal side of Rod, which I do not do. It's just not something that I just don't do it. I don't have the time. I spend my time on LinkedIn, which is the business side of Rod. Okay. So other things is you'll have the opportunity to share something about you, right? Yeah. Spend some time here. People are reading this. They're going to look at this. But most people are going to look at this after you've met them to basically connect the dots. I just met with Angelo. let me take a look at his profile. Wow, what he talked about and what is on his profile are in line, are simpático. There's harmony there. So make sure if your messaging is ultimately you want to be in accounting or finance or electronics or engineering, that the messaging is going there, that you've done volunteer work in these areas and specialties would be great. So then from there you go into, how cool is it that you can put a PowerPoint presentation, a flyer, a video right in your profile? And you're not hiring someone for thousands of dollars to put a website. The reason why my website, rodcolon.com, redirects where? To my LinkedIn profile. Because I got hacked many years ago by an organization called ISIS in Libya. They got there, and when you went to rodcolon.com, you saw 7 individuals with rifles and an eerie music saying, "You got hacked." And as I spoke to my network in DC, they said, "Rod, you do a lot of work within the Jewish community and in education, and that's what they've been targeting. So that's the reason why you got spotted." I said, you know what? I don't have the infrastructure to have these super cyber wall securities. Let me just stay on LinkedIn. That's what I choose. That's what Rod Colon Inc. chooses to do. You don't have to. Which reminds me, many of you know what the word bodega. When I grew up in the Bronx, they had a lot of bodegas. So in my messaging to you, there are going to be things that you come into my bodega and you're going to say, yes, I can do that. I like that. I can implement that immediately. There's some other things, well, maybe. And there are other things you say, no, that's Rod, that's not me. And that's okay. But I'm going to give you a buffet of different things. If you don't feel it, if it's not right for you, don't do it. We can talk about it. So here now, after this, is now we go into some of the activities, right? I share my details of the place I've been, the HISPA role model, my work with Inclusion Inc., which is a diversity, equity, and inclusion organization, a little bit of my radio show, and voila. If you wanted a catalog on my radio show and all its things, you click on here and you see all the different shows and opportunities and things that I have that are available. Just think of it. A report that you've done, a project that you've done, volunteer work that you've done internationally, and writing about that or sharing that or a video clip of that, it's all part of your portfolio now. How cool is that? Right? And then behind that, a little bit about, folks didn't believe that I have my master's in theology. Voila. I said, there you go. There is my little diploma on master's of theology. Yes, I do have that. So you can prove it and make fun. And a little bit about Cardinal Hayes High School. And I say, oh, that's pretty cool because they're ranked 6th now in basketball in the nation out of what? Thousands of schools. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool to have that there now. It talks about my certifications in DEI and Herman Brain Dominance Instrument, as well as IDI Qualified Administrator. So my whole piece there about my first volunteer job at East Harlem Tutorial Program, being a religious instructor. And here's an area that I know many of you have not, I repeat, have not looked at, which is please. And as I say in Spanish, por favor. Please ask for recommendations. And people then say to me, but Rod, why do you have 200 recommendations? Because I've asked for 200 recommendations. Because as a business owner, we always look for referrals. How did you like our work? What did you see of value? Whatever. We're running a business here as well. Your business, your career. So these are just some highlights that we can get into, different projects you've been involved with, right? And of interest, right? So that's we're talking about basic info there. Now, but where really LinkedIn separates itself is the ability to connect with people. All right, so Angelo, if you could do me a favor and pick someone out from the audience, I won't bite, but if you could just identify somebody in the audience that I could speak with would be great. And I'm going to ask them a few questions.
All right, Nick.
Should I go there or just stay here?
I can see you from the camera.
All right, I see you all the way in the back. Beautiful. Your name, sir?
Mr. Colon, how are you? My name is Nicolas Cruz.
Nicolas. My son is Nicolas.
Yes.
Nicolas Evan. Beautiful, Nicolas. I have a question for you. What is your major, and what year you're in St. Peter's?
So first, my major is International Business and Trade, and I'm a freshman year.
All right, so you're an international business student, and you're a freshman at St. Peter's. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So there is an individual. Can you see the screen from where you're at?
Yeah, I can see the screen right there.
You sure?
Yep.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
I could lend you my glasses. You okay? You good?
That's perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. Okay. So watch this magic move here. Watch this move. I'm going to say Rod Colon on a search, and you see who this is?
Yes.
That's Rod
Rod
Colon.
Colon.
Right. That's my son. Better looking than me.
Oh.
Now, let's take a look at his background. Right. We'll look at the education side. What's his major?
Business operational excellence.
No,
International
right
business.
here. He graduated from Winder University. What's his degree?
International business.
Nicholas, isn't that familiar?
Coincidence, you know.
Yeah. Ave Maria Purísima, right? I was like, oh wow. And this is the whole thing here, is that we just don't know till we look, till we search, till we find. Now, Nicholas, would it be difficult for your new friend Rodrigo Alejandro Colon Orrod to introduce you to his son, who's at JP Morgan? It wouldn't be difficult for me. It might be difficult for you, or awkward or uncomfortable for you to ask me to introduce you to my son, but it's not difficult for me. And always remember that those individuals that we call connector, the person who's going to connect you to someone else, they're always in the role that typically they want to help, right? So I just want you to know that. Now, would you like to work at JP Morgan?
Oh, of course, yes. Claro que sí.
So we got someone on the inside. We got someone who's interested. We got common things. And so I would be happy to introduce you to my son on international business. And guess what goes on? He went through a program, almost like a healthcare rotational program through various different departments. And he started about 10 years ago. And he's now making 3 times as much as I did when I left JP. Amazing. I'm like, he learned everything from his mom, maybe a little bit from me, because he's doing really good. All right, so that's the whole thing, is that we just don't know. Now, Nicholas, would you like to do an internship type of work for the summer?
So let's see, like, I want to try logistics field on
Logistics. Oh, logistics. My niece is a logistics professional in pharmaceuticals. Wow, amazing. Now another person I can introduce you to. It's just a minute, but let's go logistics here. So let me show you the magic move here. All right. So I'm going to go into the search bar right here, and I'm not going to put anything in. I'm just going to hit enter. And immediately now shows me, well, in what category do I want to go? People, posts, jobs, companies, groups. I'm looking for people. Okay. Now, when I'm in the people section, it shows how many individuals are in LinkedIn around the world. It shows here 800 million individuals. Okay. Now, when I go to connections, this will tell me who do I know personally, who I've accepted on LinkedIn, and who do my friends know. I only search my friends and my friends' friends. I only go 2 levels. I don't go any further than that. I have found over the years Trying to go for a level 3, which is a friend of a friend of a friend, very difficult, not worth the investment of time. So I stick to level 1s and level 2s. But I have to make sure that my level 1s are people that I know, I trust, I can work with. They'll help me. I got their back. They got my back. That's level 1s. So as I run this search now, I have access to 647,000 individuals in LinkedIn, either level 1s, people I know, or level 2, people that my friends know. No problem. Is that enough for Rod Colon? Absolutely. I'm perfectly happy with a little less than 1 million people. I don't need more than that. All right. So then the next thing is I go to all filters. In the all filters section, I'm going to all the way on the bottom. It has a section of, you could search by first name, you could search by last name, you could search by title, you could search by company, you could search by school. And I'm just going to say logistics, right? Anything, any one of these 647,000 individuals that have the title of logistics, I want to see, do I know anybody? Or do any of my friends know anybody? Nicholas, can you see that number?
1,000 people, you know.
Is that pretty good?
That's amazing.
Man, yeah. I have in my network, I have access to 1,000 individuals who have logistics in their title doing it right now. Now, is there any particular company you would like these logistics people in, or industry? Give me an industry, Nicholas.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a company name, DSV.
D as in David?
David, S Sebastian, and V of Victor, DSV.
DSV.
Uh-huh.
Like this one here, Global Transportation and Logistics?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. Drum roll, please. We have one individual, Federico Tavella.
I have one too.
All right. So, head of logistics products at Reef. All right. So here he is. He's also there at DSV. So he's got 2 things going on. Regional head of business change management for LATAM. Okay. Miami. All right. So I'm thinking Federico. And this is where, look, there's good bias and there's negative bias. Bias, and this is my diversity and equity training. We all have bias because our minds can only do so much and we need to have shortcuts. So that's where biases come in. Many times when we have biases about individuals, we have shortcuts that are incorrect, that are not right. Right? And that's another webinar, right? So I'm thinking Federico Tavella, Miami, in my mind, my bias is saying he might be Latino, he might be Spanish. I don't know. We'll take a look. So the first thing I see here is that Alicia Galzon is the person who I know that knows Federico. Alicia works for Microsoft. Alicia is down in Fort Lauderdale area, Boca Raton. So this is a level 1. I know her, yes. Does she have my back? Yes. Do I have her back? Absolutely. Would I feel uncomfortable in asking for an introduction to Federico? No problem, as long as I have a value proposition. What is that? Remember that in networking, we want to provide the connector, the person in the middle with a good reason why they should make the introduction. So you provide them with, this is the reason why I want to connect. This is the reason what is about their background. This is the reason about the company that they work for. And let me tell you a little bit about me that would make for a great conversation. And wow, that would be a great introduction. So that helps your connector to make the connection, to make the introduction. And there's the power. So if you wanted to get an introduction to Federico, Nicholas, you're level 1s with me, and only with me do we look a level 3. Why is that? because we now become La Familia. We're one unit. We're together as a team. So my level ones are your level ones. My level twos are your level twos because we're together as a team. So I would be happy to introduce you to my colleague, Alicia Galzon, in Boca Raton, to introduce you to Federico, but you need to provide me with a good, solid reason why. All right? And I do that to a tune of many in a year, right? So I would take a look at his background and see here what he's done, where did he graduate from. Oh, so what is this telling me immediately? He's probably Argentino. Why? Because he went to Universidad Austral Buenos Aires. Right? So this is now where we come. Many of you will say, well, but I don't have a strong profile. Don't worry, look at other profiles and see what you like, develop a combination of things and begin. Don't let, I don't have a profile that I'm excited about. Don't worry, find other profiles that you're excited about and begin to incorporate what others have and make it what you love. And I'm always here and available to help and support you in any way possible. All right, now let's go back to our search, right? And we go all filters, first and second. And instead of using the company, we're just going to go industry of logistics and supply chain. So instead of a company name, we're just going to put show results by industry. So we have I have in my network 250 individuals who are in the logistics industry. All right, so this first person here, Mel Alegría, I know him through 3 individuals. Rolando Machado, good friend of mine from the Navy, Evan Guzman, and someone else. You click on the others, it'll share all 3. Julio Barreto is a good friend of mine who is in DC. Right? So all of this, is very important that you have what I call a solid front line, a solid level 1. What does that mean? No problem. Let's go back to the top, to LinkedIn, and I'm going to check here. It says my network. I'm going to click on my network, and here it shows you how many level 1s I have. 7,253 level 1s. This is my life. It's what I do. That's why I have such a large number. Social scientists have said you can stay in touch within a reasonable level with 200 people at any given time. So I always say individuals should have at least 200 individuals, LinkedIn level 1, but not, I don't know them. Who are they? No, these are 200 individuals. I got their back, you got my back. So here's the list of individuals. And here I was at NJIT yesterday. And immediately a couple of them said, yep, we're going to connect with Rod. He gave a good message yesterday. And I'll be messaging with them and kind of there. So I would encourage all of you to look at your network. Don't worry about the number. Don't worry about the number right now. But give yourself a quick test and say, how well do you know these individuals on LinkedIn, your level 1s? And give them a grade. A, I've reached out to them and connected with them in the last 90 days. A B, they know me really well, but I haven't connected with them in the last year, but I know them well. Give them a B, reconnect with them. And then you're going to have many, the majority, and don't feel, it's just a majority, it's human nature, that many on this list of people you have no idea who they are. Make a decision as to what do you want to do. Do you want to reestablish a connection with them, a relationship with them? Send them a message. Or if you're like, I have no interest. I don't know. I'm going to click on these 3 dots there, and I'm going to select remove connection. In that way, all of your level 1s are contactable. Meaning, I'm not getting this. Hey, Nick, Nicholas, let's take a look at your LinkedIn. Great, fantastic. We're doing a little Zoom. You know, we're doing a screen share. Nicholas is sharing all his level ones. Oh, level 2. Oh, this is the exact person. That's the person I'm going to interview with. Okay, who do you know that knows them? Steve Adams. Oh, okay, good. That's your level 1. How do you know Steve? I don't know. What do you mean? You accepted him or he accepted you? What do you mean? I don't know. I guess I met him at a career fair 10 years ago when I was in grammar school, but I have no idea who he is. We don't want that answer. We want to make sure that all our level 1s are people that you can reach out to. And if you can't, make a decision to either reconnect or remove. Because when you're doing searches, the most frustrating thing is water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. Meaning you got all these great contacts, but you cannot connect with them. There'll have to be a cold email, a cold call, a cold text, a cold something. And I don't like to live in the cold. All right. So these are some of the basics of, and as Angelo indicated, you know, in that these are to me basics, but for many are like, I didn't know this. I had no idea, because those who are sharing it's difficult to teach what you don't know and do. You can check with your faculty and professors and those, but it's just like, you know, how can I teach and train and coach what I don't do, what I don't know? And this is something that you want to be in the trenches on all the time. And as a business owner of your career, you live here. This is part of your database. This is part of your research now. One last thing I want to kind of cover with you is groups, right? So when you're doing a search here, we can also look for groups. So one of the sections here is groups. We click on groups. And going back to Nicholas, he said logistics. Are there any groups in logistics? Well, there are 8,000 groups that have logistics in part of their name. Nicholas, are you excited?
Soy muy feliz, contento.
Yeah. In English, very excited. Now,
Super excited.
I say logistics. How about this? Latinos in logistics. Oh, not large numbers, but even that, something there of connections. And really what you do is you go to this group section, like a profile, but it's a profile for the group, and request to join if you think it's appropriate. Or logistics in New Jersey. Right? Say groups. Right? So New Jersey Transportation Logistics, Shore Logistics Networking Group. Look at that, Shore Logistics Networking Group. Well, I'm technically in Elizabeth. Does that mean I'm in the Shore? No, but I'm pretty close to the Shore, so that's good enough for me. Right? So these are all possibilities that you have that you want to separate yourself, because separating yourself by content, by your experience, by the work, by the knowledge that you have, everyone is going to come to the table with strong background, strong experience, strong knowledge, strong college, strong university. That's like a given. What will separate you now is your ability to network, to reach with people, to know what you do, where you're going, where is your compass heading. That's how you begin to separate yourself from the others, right? Someone at NJT yesterday asked me, but Ron, you know, I don't want people to do me favors. You know, I want to be qualified to do the work. I don't want to be because they know me. I said, oh, trust me. It's not about they know you, because they're not going to sacrifice their work, their employment, their family in making a poor hire or poor decision. You're going to compete on all of those areas. The uniqueness is on the networking and the way you brand yourself and the way you're messaging. That's the uniqueness. So, yes. So you also have groups as well. So with that, we got 10 minutes left. I want to go around the room and just questions, comments, anything. So let me go back to numero uno, Angelo Madrigal. Angelo, did I meet your expectations?
Yeah, you definitely did. One thing that you talked about in this session that you did not privately with me a few months back was groups. And I honestly think that's like definitely like a game-changing thing, because that's a bigger way to like really expand your network and really like talk to other professionals.
Beautiful. Absolutely. And a wonderful thing about the groups is that what is the question you're asking them? How are you once again, are you stroking their ego in a positive way? Are you asking them? So these are all the nuances that go behind the scenes. Now, I've been looking at Lilette all this time, and I've been looking at Anna Pacheco. So Anna, we're going to start with you first. Question or a comment?
I thought it was a great conversation that you had. Thank you for the presentation. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think I've been doing relatively okay so far with networking and making sure that, you know, my LinkedIn is up to date. I do need to refreshen it now that I've actually graduated St. Peter's and I'm in the master's program. So definitely need to refine that. But I do like the fact that you said to connect with your first and second tier connections, and how you should, you know, I think one struggle I've always had through my college career was making sure to keep up with those mentors and keeping up with those connections, because you don't want to come off as annoying or, you know, too many times. So I guess what would be your advice on that, you know, when you're reconnecting?
Yeah, so here's a wonderful book on networking. This is kind of like when I was teaching at Georgian Court University, I gave out this book and all the other professors on campus were saying, what are you giving these kids in this orange book that like they just can't put it down? It's called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. And I'll put it in the chat. Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. Right? And you can get it used now for $2 or $3. It's been around for over 10 years. Great, great, great book. In the book, he talks about once, so Anna, we've just interacted. This is our first connection. So within 30 days, we should have 3 other connection points. So now you now say, I'm going to send Rod an invitation. Connection 1. I now respond saying, welcome, Anna. Anything you need, you let me know. Here's my cell phone number. Here's my info. Bam, bam, boom. You know, say, hey, Rod, can I set up some time with you and talk to you about, you know, networking on the group section? Great. Connection 2. Right? Then we have our conversation, whatever. That's connection 3. We actually had the conversation. So what happens there is that now Anna becomes known in my mind. Anna's, yeah, St. Peter's. Oh, Masters. Yes, she's reached out to me. Just like Angelo. I met with many individuals at the St. Peter's event. Angelo sticks out. Why? Because he followed up. And if I say, Angelo, yeah, I know. Will I be interested in giving a reference or connecting? Or absolutely. He's familiar. He's my family. But for most, and irrespective of age, because I work with executives as well, and they struggle with the connecting part and staying in touch. That's not an age thing, it's just comfort, right? If you have something to deliver, and then what Keith says is once you've established those initial +3 in 30 days, then stay in touch once a quarter, okay? So how do I stay in touch with once a quarter? LinkedIn, and I'll go back to share my screen. LinkedIn, so cool, provides you with notifications of your level 1s, right? So I'm gonna look every day I do this. Samuel Ballin, happy birthday, right? So look at the beauty of LinkedIn is all of my notes with him are here going back to 2018, okay? And my last little note to him was, hey, how you doing? September 1st of 2021, right? Not long ago, right? So now in my notes to him, I could share something about that. So I'll say happy birthday, right? And let me just move this up there. Okay, so I'm gonna say happy birthday. Now, everyone who's on LinkedIn knows that happy birthday by itself is standard. So I could send it like that, but you know me and my word uniqueness is, I'm gonna personalize this. Happy birthday, Samuel. Hope you have many more, and make sure to keep networking alive. God bless. All right? So I'm unique. Now, is Samuel gonna know when he opens this that I took the time to write something and think about him for a moment? Yes. Versus Rod just hit select or hit enter. There's the uniqueness. Those are the little things. So LinkedIn provides me with their birthday. It provides me with an anniversary at work. It provides me when they get promoted. It provides me when they graduated. Various things. So that's how I stay in touch with my 7,000. I look at this as part of my to-do list that every day I look at what's going on in people's lives, right? We have another one, Nina Mortimer. Congratulations for starting a new position, right? Beautiful. Congrats on the role. I am so proud of you, right? Keep networking alive. And that's kind of my little tagline, my unique tagline. So that's how I stay in touch with people. So when I do some searches, I stay in touch. When I do a connection, I stay in touch. When there's anniversaries, I'm always staying in touch. And the beauty is that, we get messaging, right? So these are my emails. So I got my email from business, I got my personal email, and I got LinkedIn email. But Rod, that's too much. I'm running a business. I don't know what you're running. If you're running a hobby, I understand. But if you're running a business, it is a business, right? So these are all individuals that are, emailing me back. I'm staying in touch with them, all various things that, usually first thing in the day or last thing in the evening, I'll cover my LinkedIn mail once a day, right? So Anna, thank you so much for that question. Lilette Magori.
Hi, Rod. Thanks again for all the
My
tips and
pleasure.
advice.
Question or a comment?
Question. How important is it to subscribe to that premium level where you can see who viewed your profile? And I'm always self-conscious to look at other profiles thinking they'll know that I'm looking at their profiles.
Right.
And I was told that they can see. I don't really know at what point can they see that it's me viewing.
Could you connect me with the CEO of Lilette Magori? Could you connect me with her? Is she available? Because that's not who's asking that question is not the CEO. Who's asking that question is Lilette, the individual. But I need to talk to Lilette Magori, the CEO of Lilette Magori Inc. Enterprises. Now, as a business, do you want other organizations to take a look at your website? Absolutely. Yes. Do you as a business owner potentially want to collaborate with other business owners? Absolutely. So the thought that way makes sense, but if it's Rod from the Bronx about, humble Rod, altar server Rod, no, man, nobody wants to know about me. Forget about it. I'm hiding. I'm stealth Rod. But this is about the brand of you. Now, if you've had situations or whatever, those are things that we could talk about privately, that maybe something has happened in the past. And we'll talk about it and work some situations on that. Great question. But once again, I coach business owners, not the individual, but it's the business owner that I coach. And my philosophy is for those who accept that they're running a great career, great enterprise. So for some, especially new to this, they're like, I'm not sure. That's why I said, let's go to the bodega. Some things I like, some things I don't, from that perspective. Great question. All right,
And
Angelo,
can I-
anybody there in the room? Sure, go ahead.
Can I
Loretta,
just
I'm sorry.
ask one last question? And if
Ask
you
as many as
have,
like.
if you are living two kinds of lives, like a professional corporate life and then a business life that you do on the side, do you recommend two separate LinkedIn profiles?
You could. That's your option as a business owner, right? So for instance, let's say I'm working in an organization that compliance clearly indicates that I can only talk about the business that I'm in and that I can't do anything else. Well, it's a decision that you have to make versus the compliance and the contract that you have with that organization. Could you develop another LinkedIn or just the name of that? Yes. I personally, I'm not affiliated or attached to any corporations that put that restrictions on me. I'm a sole proprietor. I rock and roll. I do as, what I want to do and what I feel is appropriate. You have to make those business decisions for yourself, right? So many times if it's an organization that's paying me X amount of money and their requirements, that's what I need to follow. But you also can make the decision to leave that organization and do something else where those requirements are not that. And that's a business choice. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, Angelo, anybody there who's not, I think I don't think I put anyone to sleep there. I don't see any blankets or pillows. So I think they're all up and about. Good. Any questions for your team there?
Any questions, guys?
Can I just make one more comment?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Colon, this is absolutely fantastic. I think I could go for another session next week if you're available. I just want to thank you. And just one thought I had, if you do take advantage of connecting with Mr. Colon's connections or with a faculty member or another leader that you meet, please follow up and let him know how that connection worked out for you. Because if Nicholas meets somebody through Mr. Colon and then he gets an internship offer, aren't you happy to hear back from Nicholas about that success story? And so am I. And that's so meaningful when you reach back out and let us know and keep us posted, okay?
Absolutely.
We want to hear from you.
I'll actually have him on the radio show. Say, hey, tell me about this, and we'll feature you on the show. But for all of you, though, I mean, in all seriousness, here to help, here to support you. I know it's for some, it's like, why would this person who I don't know want to help? It's what I do. It's what we do. It's about good quality networking. It's about being part of the family. You can ask Angelo and he'll give you the testimonial on that. I'd encourage all of you to reach out to me through LinkedIn. That's the best way. Say, hey, Rod, I was part of the webinar. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And away we go. And student, faculty, administration, it doesn't matter. Says, but Rod, I have a friend who's not at St. Peter's. What can I do? Same thing. Just you can introduce them to me via LinkedIn or on an email, and happy to cover. If for some reason you're struggling with in finding LinkedIn or you don't have a LinkedIn account, here's my email address. This is a real tough one. All right, you ready? It's my name, Rod, R-O-D. That's R-O-D. Rod, short for Rodrigo. R-O-D at, check this out, rodcolon.com. Yeah, my name. All right, so people say, that's not Colon, that's colon. I said, no. It's spelled like the intestine, but sounds like the fragrance, cologne. So and that way it's memorable. So Rod at rodcolon.com. Hey, I've had a lot of pleasure with you. Angelo, thank you so much. Really appreciate this time. As you can see, I'm a man of my word, and I really appreciate what you do. And please stay in touch. And looking forward to helping and supporting all of you, because I know at some point, all of you in some way will be helping someone else in the network as well. Take care. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.